Kenny Matee. Like the late. Everybody ready?
Call this City Commission Workshop of the City of Pahokee to order. May we please stand for the invocation provided by Vice Mayor McDonough, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Lord, we thank you for yet another opportunity to assemble together as we convene and take care of the business of our city. We pray right now that you dwell within us and amongst us as we make the decisions that would be best for the citizens of our town. We ask for guidance and direction as we do these things that are pleasing in your sight. We ask right now that we're able to just come together in unity, God, that whatever it is that we do will be pleasing in your sight. And we ask all these blessings in your son Jesus' name.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Babb,
Present.
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Present.
Commissioner Cowan Williams.
Present.
Commissioner McPherson,
Present.
Commissioner Scott,
Present.
City Manager,
Present.
City Attorney,
Here.
City Clerk is present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff. And thank our audience for being here to participate, whether live or on social media, to our budget workshop. At this time now, this is a workshop, so there won't be any official voting on any means today. At this time, I have our city manager lead us in the discussion of our budget workshop.
Thank you so much. Today we will review our first draft of the 2026-2027 budget. Each of you have a copy, as well as the capital improvement programs, which we will review after the budget. Okay. The Director of Finance, Ms. Dardell, will present the budget.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Should I hold it?
You have to hold it.
Thank you all for having us here today. I am before you to present the FY 26-27 proposed budget for your review, guidance, and discussion. We'll go through our slide presentation. If you would, let's move to slide number 3. We'll go ahead and get started. Okay, the city of Pahokee is considered a taxing authority, which means we are a government agency and we receive a portion of our the property tax bills based on our millage rate. Our millage rate is determined. It's 1 mil equals $1 per $1,000 of taxable value. That's property values. And currently our millage rate is 6.5419 mils, and it has been the same rate for quite some time. The maximum millage rate is 10. However, we do share a portion of that with the fire department, as they are a MSTU for the city of Pahokee. We use their services, so they take a portion of that 10 mills. Next slide is just a budget overview of our historical budget. If you look at the graphs, it shows the general fund revenues as well as the ad valorem tax portion of those revenues. The lighter green bar are the general fund revenues over the years, and the darker green bar shows our ad valorem revenues over the years. As you can see, ad valorem has remained pretty much around the same, where our general fund revenues, which are other revenues that we receive, make up a larger portion of our budget and have fluctuated over the years.
I'm sorry, what page is it on? I'm trying to find it.
This is the slide show, the slide presentation. I
Page
don't,
6,
26?
6 on the original.
oh, it was in your original packets. I'm not sure if you all have the printout of the slide show. It was in your mailboxes. Okay. But you all can I think it was emailed to you all, and I'm sure it can be made available to you if you wish to have it.
The manager has brought the copies, I believe, from the mailbox of the ones that
Oh,
didn't
okay.
pick them up.
I would say though, the slide presentation, you can use those from that packet. However, when we get into the budget and when you want to start asking questions and looking at the budget, the handout that you had at your seats is the one that we should look at. Okay, moving on to the next slide, which is, it shows the proposed revenues for FY27, a graph of those, with the majority being in the general fund, as it has been over the years. The Henderson Endowment Fund, a small portion of that. If you notice the special revenue funds, there are no revenues there, and that is because the county repealed the infrastructure surtax last year. It became effective January 1 of this year, so we no longer receive funds for the infrastructure surtax. So that's why you see nothing there.
And is nothing but the Henderson Endowment either?
There's something there, it's just small. You can't, I mean, it's there, but you can hardly see it.
But for this-
It's mainly just the interest that we receive from that fund.
But for the surtax itself, we still have a balance that we haven't spent.
Correct, we do have
Okay.
funds
Okay.
available in our surtax. Moving on to the next slide, and it's just a budget summary of this proposed budget. Our general fund revenues, $5,666,805. General fund expenditures are the same, and as I mentioned before, our current millage rate, 6.5419 mills, it giving you a balanced budget. The next slide. It's a graph detailing the categories of our general fund revenues. As you can see, ad valorem makes up a large portion, and our sales and use taxes make up the largest portion, and then some other smaller categories that we get revenues from. And a huge talking point has been the item coming up on the ballot in November regarding the ad valorem taxes. I just want to make the commission aware that that will not have an effect on this upcoming year's budget, but we will start seeing effects, if it passes, on the following year's budget. And next slide, our general fund expenditures by function. As you'll see, our general government makes up the majority of that portion, and the others smaller, similar amounts of our expenditures. Next slide. And here are just some important items to note in this budget. As I touched on already, we have a $0 surtax, $0 of surtax budgeted, as for the reason I mentioned before. And there is one additional position requesting to be added, a procurement officer in the finance department. And there are no capital projects included as of yet. You all have a schedule of proposed capital projects that, we'll accept your guidance on how to proceed with those. Next slide. And just a little slide saying why expenditures increase, inflation, recession, war, tariffs, supply chain. So these are just some of the reasons why you'll see expenditures increase from year to year. Next slide. Some strategic focus areas, which we will get into once we look at the capital improvement plan, infrastructure improvements, parks and recreation enhancements, public safety support, economic development, and financial sustainability. Next slide. Okay, and now you all have a handout in front of you. The capital improvement plan is the one on the legal sized paper. I'm not sure if you had a chance to review it, but the city manager and I, as well as other staff, put this plan together. It's something that should be done every year, rolling over every year. And, these are things that we see that need to be done in the city of Pahokee. And as I said, we'll, accept guidance from you all as to what you would like to see prioritized, and when you would like to see those things happen. If there are things on there that, you feel can be postponed, we'll accept your guidance on how to proceed with them. And as I said, they have not been added to the budget, and these projects will have to be funded mainly by outside sources, grant funding, just simply because we do not have the budget to sustain these projects currently.
I didn't see the McClure project on here, the $900,000 from McClure project is not on here, so what are we gonna do? What's happening with that?
McClure, it
McClure
should
on
be
there.
on there.
It's the
It's
fifth
on
one.
the first page.
Fifth one down.
Oh, it says 466, so it's not 900,000 anymore.
This is the number that was given to me. This is the number that we've had rolling over in our budget for the past couple of years from McClure. There may be another phase of it. I don't have that number as of yet.
Some of those dollars had already been used, so we're working on the different spreadsheets we have to make sure that we come to what the final amount is that's remaining in that budget, but some of them have already been used.
Okay. Oh. I have another question. Sidewalk improvements, I see we have $0 there for the next 3 years. So we're not looking at trying to get any grants or anything to improve any of the sidewalks, the ones that's really bad, at least if we can just put in for one sidewalk.
So we are hoping to get grants for those projects. The reason you'll see zeros, at least for the next year, is because, those cycles have already passed, for many of the grants for the upcoming year. So there's not a whole lot we can do to receive funding there. The upcoming years, again, as I said, this is, you know, for you all to review and give us guidance. So if you all would like to see them push forward, then we can make those changes.
Yes, I would like for us to put something on here for sidewalks.
The other consideration, commissioners, is also if you look at the balance, we tried to also balance out in the year of what could be done and not place everything on the first year. So if you look through the pages, there are quite a bit of items that's already scheduled for 26, 27, 27, 28. So we tried to balance them out. But by all means, we do have a position out for a grant writer, as well as working with the lobbyists on appropriations. So if we are able to get those fundings, of course, we can adjust that.
And another thing, I don't know if that can be included with some of these, one of these projects, maybe the sidewalks are, there's a lot of manholes that need to be addressed too, as far as, and those are our drainage systems. Helps the drainage system because they don't have the proper covering, and some of them don't have coverings at all.
So line number 2, we do have those storm drain covers in there.
Okay, I'm sorry. I see.
For the next fiscal year, not this upcoming year, but the next fiscal year, we do have something there to address those things.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
That's good.
So, excuse me, I have a question with regards to the storm drain covers, and this kind of goes back to an item that was on the agenda a few months ago with regards to our storm drainage. There was a solicitation with regards to Pahokee participating in a contribution to the purchase of a machine that would be used to clean the canals so as to prevent the backup of our storm drain system. And so it was voted down at that time, but I think that's something that needs to be revisited, and I'm sure everybody agrees that it's not something that will impact this current budget that we're looking at. But I don't know, I'm sure they wouldn't have a problem if we decided after the fact to make a contribution to that particular effort, because we all have the same issue, and it's only right that we all participate in that particular instance to make sure that we're able to keep our man-made waterways clear and to also prevent our neighborhoods from having the water back up, which I experience on my street a lot. And like Commissioner McPherson said, the drain covers, like there's one at the end of his street in Barack Obama that has a piece of wood over it, and that should not be the case. And so I've called in and reported that a number of times and even addressed it since I've been on the commission, prior to and since I've been on the commission. So I understand that it takes time to get some things taken care of, especially when it's going to impact our budget in such a way. But certainly I believe that should be taken as a matter of priority with regards to us making sure that we can keep our waterways, our streets clear from water backup with regards to the storm systems.
I want to speak on that as well, and I think that we voted it down because one of the questions was we have the backup inside the communities, and they were not going to go inside the community because they was having this problem right over here, right behind us, and they were having it in that development, and they said they would not be going in developments. They will only deal with the canals, making sure the canals are unstopped, but they will not go inside of the communities, and that's where we were having the issues at, inside the communities. And so that's where we were at with that, because they said they only going to clean the outside canals, and so it's inside the communities behind those canals that they're really having issue with those backups, and that's why we were saying, how would that benefit us when the issue is inside and the people's homes are flooding? And though I think the canals behind the houses, I think some of them are with farm workers, and they were saying those were areas they can't touch because it's not something that they can just go on their property to do, and that was one of the concerns that we had. That was one of our concerns with it. And so they were supposed to come back and give us more information, and then we didn't ever get that information. And so that's what we really do need, somebody that can go inside the community so that their houses, because I know one of the owners was flooded out from, and her daycare was closed. And I called the county for them, and the county said because it was inside there, they couldn't go in. The county couldn't even help them.
Right, so your point is well taken. However, I do believe that if we have the canals able to flow at a level that is going to make sure that the water is moved, then that would probably open us up as far as being able to put some responsibility on our public works system with regards to making sure that certain areas are not collecting waste and garbage that is causing a backup with regards to our storm systems. But hey, I agree that we can ask them to come back and further address that and to provide more clarity with regards to that particular piece of equipment and how we can better understand how we can benefit from it. I mean, I know every time we have a good rain, I can't even get in my car. If I'm coming home, I can't get in my house. I gotta walk halfway the block to get across where the water is not as bad, or vice versa. So I don't know of anybody else that might be having an issue, but I'm sure that I'm not the only one.
Thank you. I have that documented so we can research it a little more.
Okay. And you can also check with the Public Works receptionist too, because I've spoken to her on a number of occasions and never got any follow-up on it. And, you know, this is not to, you know, throw shade or anything, but there needs to be follow-up. You know, this was long before I was up here. So just to show you how far back it's going, I've been up here almost a year. And I know at least 2 or 3 times I came up to that mic and addressed that very issue. So good follow-up is very pertinent.
Okay. Any other recommendations, comments regarding the capital improvement plan? I would also like to mention regarding the vehicles of the city. I had a call with Enterprise Fleet Management, just exploring some options. And, you know, they did an analysis of all of our vehicles that we do have, the ones that are operational and the ones that aren't. And our average age of our vehicles is 16 years old. Our miles per gallon, average miles per gallon is 12. So that is something that we should really be looking at going forward, because it's just a matter of time before, you know, vehicles that we really need are no longer operational. The county has a backlog of 3 months or more when we send our vehicles there for repairs, and then obviously when we go to outside companies, you know, we pay a little more because the service is a little faster. So that's something to consider. That is here on page, the last page. We do have some vehicles in there. Code enforcement, there are 2 allotted for code enforcement, 1 for the city manager in the upcoming year. And then the following year, there's 1 for public works. And the year after that, another vehicle for public works, as well as a bucket truck. So you'll see that $210,000, that includes the bucket truck that they use to, you know, do maintenance on the trees in the city.
And I have one more question. Did we put anything in here for the maintenance of the football field?
Anything as far as?
Making sure that it's maintained, funding for the football field?
No, I didn't,
Yeah, I want to add that in there because we got to definitely make sure we get the maintenance of the football field. You know, at least some kind of maintenance since we've had that grass put down to make sure that we're keeping up with what we're getting.
oh, you're referring to the turf.
The turf, yes.
Okay.
Would that be in the recreation budget or?
Um,
I didn't see
it
in
would be,
there. I didn't see it in there.
I did not, I don't know what they're currently doing. I'm not aware of anything that they're currently doing, and they did not, communicate anything that they were planning to do on that with me, but I can make a note of it to, get with them and
I think that's very
find out what those things are.
Another thing too, I mentioned this to the city manager previously. The county has a surplus auction that they do every so often, and I think I sent it to her earlier this week. They have a list of vehicles that they're selling this weekend, and of course you would need to compare and evaluate the quality of equipment that you're going to be getting. But that's another source that you can check when you're looking to at least purchase or replace vehicles. And I know sometimes, you know, it's their old stuff, but it's very possible that it's better than what we have.
I think, when considering that, we, consider the upfront costs, and whether or not the city is, more able to carry the monthly cost as opposed to the larger, upfront cost. If it's doable, that's something that we can consider. But, you know, with our budget, a lot of times it's more feasible to spread out those payments over the months. But like I said, it's something to consider for sure.
Yeah, they not only have the vehicles, just about any piece of equipment that we might need to use for the operation of our municipality. At some point in time, they will probably have it. So you can certainly look into that.
Okay.
And one last thing I didn't notice that on here. I know we've been talking about the signs throughout the city.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see anything in there for signs throughout the city. We've been saying, I see the signage for the marquee, but I know it has been brought up several times by commissioners that we need signage. People coming in, they can't find different addresses, and I didn't see anything for that, and I think that is vital, and it's, you know, for safety, and people can find where they're going as well. So I didn't see anything in here for that either. And that definitely needs to be a part of the budget.
We do have the marquee / signage on there. So that was something that we included in that number. Now whether that number.
Street signs is what I was talking about.
Some analysis, yes, some analysis needs to be done on how much signage is missing and what we need, in order to get a more accurate figure there. But, we can, definitely go back and look at that.
So will it be looked at before we approve the budget? Will that be put in there before we approve the budget? Or are you saying you're gonna go back and look at it?
Yes, if you want us to consider adding that to this current year's budget, we can do that.
Yeah.
We'll go
I
back
think it
and
sounds
look at that,
important.
and do that.
Also, we will visit Public Works, because I visited the Public Works building, and they have the signs there as well as the sign maker. It had not been used in a while, so we need to test it to make sure that it still works, and then the material. But we will look at that, and then we do have to analyze, but we already have some information of which streets need signs on them, but we need to look at the entire city.
So I would add to that too, and I understand there's a cost involved, and obviously this is our budget workshop. So as far as, there's a lot of the signs on the pole that are either damaged or not even there at all. But I would say that if we're able to, that we should consider putting the street signs on the curb whenever and wherever possible. I feel that would be an added benefit in times of a storm when that signage might be destroyed and you know, completely removed. And here we are trying to rely on GPS, which we know I'm sure everybody's experienced, the issues with GPS sometimes. When it's working, hey, it's spot on. But I've had situations where I've been going in a circle trying to get to my destination because GPS had me going in a circle. So I feel that if we're able to put the street signs on the curb, we know for the most part the curb is not going anywhere. And that way, whenever we do have a situation where the sign has been destroyed, then we can still find our way. And that's mostly, a lot of us, we've been here for a while, but that's mostly for the emergency response teams that will be coming in and other emergency response teams that are not from this area. You know, they need to be able to find their way and not have to completely rely on GPS. So again, I don't know what that will cost. I just feel that it would be a good investment and a great benefit to all of us to have our signage on the street curb.
So what we will ask from the commissioners as well is to prioritize the list, however you would see them to be prioritized, and also select the first 5 or the most 5 of importance for you for the appropriations as well.
I have a question. I see we have no funds for the north side of the marina. So are we looking at having that restroom available to the public?
You're saying the restrooms?
The new one that just sitting there. So I didn't see anything like
That is what
think it's on here.
line item is for. It
27,
includes,
28,
Where is that?
yes,
16.
yes, line 16. It includes that restroom.
Okay.
So we're able to get that operational?
She's saying next year.
Oh, next budget year, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I guess that's better than nothing, because it's certainly been sitting there in a complete waste of our funds that we have had for some time now, and it just doesn't make any sense for our citizens to be on this end of the lake, and we got to go all the way to the other end of the lake to relieve ourselves. So certainly I'm glad to see that that's something that's going to be taken into consideration as far as fiscal year 27-28.
Any other questions or comments regarding the capital improvements? Oh, the city manager, I guess you had a request. Were you asking for that now? For their prioritization of their projects that they
No.
would like to see?
I'm asking that they look into it, not to provide it
Okay.
right now.
No, I can,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that look good. It's
Okay,
I mean, we can pretty much call it out, but we need to do some research,
okay.
make sure. And I'm looking at this, the upgrades for the marina campground, $3 million for next year. Can you expound on that somewhat?
So that would include, because we did have some audit findings at the marina regarding security. They recommended that we put up some cameras, some lighting, a gate. So that includes that. There's also some dredging that needs to be done. That is included in those numbers. So yeah, I mean, and again, these numbers are approximate. We didn't have any quotes for these services. These are just approximate numbers. So it could be less, most likely not more than the number that you see. Now, whether or not it'll be possible to get it done in this upcoming year, it depends on if we can get some funding for it.
I see we have like fuel tanks. I think we already had some of them. We never used them.
From my understanding, they are not operational. They need to be replaced.
Okay, I understand. Can we look in adding some charging stations up there?
Okay.
I think they're probably free. We get a FP&L, some kind of way they work out a deal where they keep up the maintenance and everything.
I will make a note of that and we'll,
I I think that would be an awesome idea, you know, so that we can be assured that our customers that are going up there can make sure that their vehicles are running, the ones that have the electric vehicles. And, excuse me, also, for those fuel tanks, in order for them to be replaced, are we expecting to, you know, have an increase in any activity as far as the dock usage and what have you?
Well, that's
I'm
the-
hoping that that would be the case, obviously, with some of the activities that are being proposed with regards to the use of our facilities. And we certainly don't want to have an issue with the fuel tanks, because we need to be able to supply petroleum for those individuals that need it if they're going to be docking their boats here.
Yes, that is the goal for those fuel tanks. And my understanding is also that the dredging that needs to be done to allow for larger boats to come in and out of the marina. So that is something that will have to happen as well, so that we can, you know, start increasing that traffic of the boats that we can receive in the marina.
And I know you said these are approximations. What did you base these estimates on?
We did some research online, just looking up what it might cost. We didn't have the specs of those tanks that we have. We just, you know, the approximate size and what we needed for. So that's how we came up with those numbers. And I believe there are 2 fuel tanks up there. And those make up the majority of that number that you see there.
So we looking to open up the marina bake shop or something? Cause someone has to be up there to run that.
A bait shop?
I mean, we have one, I'm just saying, it's never been open. But I'm saying where the fuel tanks at, you got to have someone available to gas the boats up when they come in there.
We have a marina maintenance person. I don't know if the plan is to have him to do that. I'm not sure of that.
No, I'm just saying, if you're gonna put fuel tanks up there, but you have a bake shop that's not being used, just like the other fuel tanks that been up there for years that never been used.
That would be something that we would have to do a little bit more research on.
Yeah.
Are there any additional items that you would like added to this list that you don't see, or even some that may be deleted as well?
The boat parking, like have it paved or something, you know, where cause it used to be like just rocks. Now
Yeah,
it's just grass through there, whatever. But I think it'd be better if we could just pave it. Where you park when you drop the boat off and you park your truck. Yeah, that, I know a while back, I know, some of the people in the community asked for it to be paved, but they just put rocks in it. And now the grass, they don't maintain it. The rocks don't grow up. I mean, the grass don't grow up through the rocks.
We will research that as well, because when you're talking, I'm trying to picture it, and I can't.
Right the way y'all had the
I
10
know where, yeah.
In the middle part.
Yeah, in the middle part, that's when you drop.
It used to be rocks.
Where they,
Okay.
Where the
yeah,
trucks
it used
I
to
know
be.
you're talking about, yeah.
After they put their boats
It
in
used to
the
be-
water, after
in
they
the
launch the
grass
boat,
piece.
then it's the grass, there used to be gravel.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it used to be.
And I have one question where it says the public work building where we have that equipment storage. I see we have 0 funds there, and the garage is torn up, and that building looks horrible. But I see we don't have any money in there to do anything to this building. And I think something definitely needs to go there, and we can't have that building to continue to look like that. And we're not allocating 346 East Main Street.
Across from the Prince Theater.
From the Prince Theater, we don't have any funding for that. And I think that, you know, we're wanting our city to look better, and we want it to be appealing when someone comes through our city, and I think we need to do something with that building.
So we
because
were
the
we were
garage
there
door-
this week as well, and we just need to get a handle on exactly what needs to be done. I've gone in it as well. The inside is pretty large, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So Public Works will start removing all the items that needs to be removed. To trash those, we also went to look at and took pictures of the vehicles that are not working, so we can get those off the books as well. Then we can be able to provide a better feel for it. We're not sure on the roof on that particular building, but we have had the roof appraised on the other and have those costs. That building we have not as of yet. There's a lot that needs to be done with it. So we need to see there's an upstairs in the building as well, and we do need a shelter if there's a hurricane for our vehicles as well as the other tools. So that's what we will be looking at that. But right now we just didn't have a handle on what the cost would be. So once we start moving the things out, then we can get a true cost of what it would take.
Question, have you ever been out to the old public work place?
The one off of McClure Road?
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
No, I know it's
Yeah.
a whole,
a whole bunch of stuff.
No, I didn't know if they removed all those cars. I was saying for a shelter, like you could say park your vehicles in case of a storm or something. Is that still the building still there?
I didn't see anything. It was like
okay,
a wooden shed.
Oh, okay.
I went there about 3 or 4 weeks ago
Mhm.
because I had not been in that area in years.
Oh.
All I saw was like a wooden shed, but there wasn't much there.
Oh, okay. I ain't know.
So I would propose, and it's just something to kick around with regards to the building at 346 East Main Street. I would think that we can convert that to our Public Works building. Of course, it would be something that would be down the road because of the amount of work that's needed, but it's big enough, and even the parking area is large enough for our city vehicles to be parked. But I agree with Commissioner Carol Williams that it definitely needs to be cleaned up and maintained. I remember I used to walk past there and just, the weeds and all kind of other stuff on the back side of the lot. It just should not be. So, like I said, just something we can kick around. And also that space back off of McClure Road, I would say too, that potentially we could partner with any of the distribution companies that might be interested in having a location anywhere within our city limits. We do have a couple of locations that would potentially be able to accommodate such. So again, like I said, just something to kick around because we have that space there and we may as well put it to work and have it bring in some revenues for us because as you all well know, like Ms. Dowdell said, we don't have a whole lot in our budget. So just something, like I said, to kick around.
I have one thing. Have you ever thought about partnership with West Tech? But they have this program where they they teach these guys like to build. And I was thinking about that building. Maybe they come in and use it as a project. We probably have to buy the material, but we don't have to pay for the labor.
Which building are you speaking of?
Right on East Main Street.
346.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a good
They can
idea.
go in
I mean, but like
they
you
can
said,
go
we
in.
would need to, of course,
Yeah.
purchase the materials, but I think it's worth looking into.
That's what they training for. So that gives them a live project.
So we had a conference call with West Tech, looking at the trades that they provide, as far as the HVAC, plumbing, electrical, carpentry, and all of those things. The plan is to have some of our Public Works guys do after work training, and they enroll there because the state pays for that, and at one point it was free when they enroll in it. That way, when we need a plumber, when we need HVAC, when we need those things, we have them also on site. And so we've started receiving feedback from the guys as to when, and there's another conference call scheduled for next week as well with West Tech. The other item that we're looking at as well is also Project Lift, because Project Lift also train young students. And so they do a lot of the work for free. For example, we have one of the trailers that we pull, and it's not in working conditions right now only because the boards need to be replaced. And so we talked about that and just called some of those individuals to come out. And also, I've talked to West Tech about other programs in general and the feasibility, because even if we could partner with them, because they're training other individuals, if we partner with them and then they can do on-the-job training for those young men and young ladies as well. So it'll be a win-win situation for both institutions at that point. So those are things that we are in the talks of.
Okay, sounds good to me. So you're gonna give us an update? Well, obviously,
We
it'll
will.
be part of the budget talks.
Correct.
But for sure, we'll get an update real soon regarding all of the things that we've pointed out.
Yes, we've mentioned it to them, and we will get back together so that we can discuss it further. But they appear to be interested as well, because with most other young people, once you go to school and then you go out looking for employment, they want to know what experience you have.
Right.
This will be giving them the on-the-job training
Mhm.
when they're going through as well.
Yeah, okay.
I just have one more question, which has been a near and dear heart to my heart that I don't see on here. We have limited lighting throughout the city, even up here when we leave from up here and it's night. At some point, even if it's not in this budget, at some point, even maybe we can get some grants that we can try to get some LED lighting or some type of lighting throughout the city. You know, it's a safety issue. And, we know when it's dark or the lights go out, I mean, when we don't have lights, it is very dark at night, even driving through town. So if we can get some type of lighting, I mean, even if we start small, but if we can get some type of lighting throughout the city, like even if we wanted to walk in the afternoons and it get dark, you gotta try to make it home before dark because there's no lighting.
So we do have LED lighting on the parks on 12 and 13, but I will revisit one of the resolutions that we did maybe last month. It was lighting. It was talking about lighting, and we renewed that one. So I will look at that again to see the effect of it, to see if it also puts throughout the city or just in major areas. But we did do that resolution.
Okay.
And if it's not, then surely we will add it to the list, because there are grants available for that as well.
Okay.
All right, any other feedback regarding the capital improvements? Okay, if not, then we can move on to the budget, and I will answer any questions you have regarding the budget. I will point out, first, you'll notice if you look at Department 57020, you will notice that there are no expenditures in that department. The reason for that is that department was previously funded by a grant, the Children's Services Council grant. However, we have not received that grant in over 10 years. So the general fund has been funding that department. So because it is recreation and we already have a recreation department, I have just consolidated those two. So you'll look at recreation, which is 572000, and you'll notice that their budget increased significantly from this year to last year, and that's the reason why, because it was consolidated with that department.
What page are you on?
It's not a page, it's in the budget, budget document. It's under general fund expenditures. At the top, you'll see Department 572000.
General fund expenditures.
It's the first section. I could not get page numbers on this document. I do apologize for that. It just would not format to give you the page numbers.
So do you know what page it is so we can count it in here?
Right, can you count from the front to see how far back it is?
I'll go from the back. 16th and 17th pages from the back of your package. If you start at the back and count forward 16 pages, you'll see 572020, and the page before that, 572000.
Is it the 572020?
Oh, okay.
572020, you said, okay.
Yes.
That is the Recreation
Department
Department.
numbers are at the top, just under the heading. They're underlined.
And that is the Recreation Department, PBC.
Oh, no.
No, this my old stuff that I have from last year, 572.
Oh, you all have front and back. I'm sorry, that's why you couldn't get it, but it's these two.
I'm not looking on the wrong, okay. But she's she's looking at the other.
Okay, yeah. So it's
It's the one with this page, it's on the front. No, that's the
No,
old,
that's the
there you go.
old budget. Oh, that's my old stuff, I'm sorry. Right here. 572. So what were you saying again? I'm sorry.
I was saying that if you notice on 572020, there is nothing budgeted, for expenditures in that department. And the reason for that is because it was previously funded by a grant. We haven't had that grant in over 10 years. It was from the Children's Services Council. So the general fund has been funding that department, but somehow it's just stayed in the budget. So I just consolidated the two departments so that we no longer have that one. So you'll notice the expenditures increased, in the 572000, and that's the reason why. There were two, staff being paid from that, department, as well as some other expenditures, which you can see, listed there.
We can't apply for that grant anymore?
I don't know the circumstances behind how we lost it, but it's been a while, so I imagine that we could.
Right, I was gonna suggest that we do, because, certainly anything that we can get to, support and, finance what we need to do with and for our kids.
That's only
It's
if it
definitely
still exists.
something
So we'll
that's
look to
needed.
see, that's only if it still exists. So we'll look to see if it still exists, and then we can apply for it.
I would agree. I would say that we need to be aggressively, seeking grant funding, in these coming years. Because it's really the only way that we can, make progress and get some of the things done that we would like to see done in the city.
In the second package, page 44. The other package, the black and white.
What page? Oh, it's in the,
44 is the same as this.
What you saying, Commissioner Gibson?
Page 44 is the same as the page on the color. In our packages, the last package that was handed out is page 44. This one.
I had one question. We haven't gone into discussing the budget yet, have we?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so where we're at here on Parks and Recreation, I see we are adopting, last year, it was 35,000, and we're going up an additional 1,000 this year.
For athletic activities,
Yeah,
yeah, it's based on trends, and what we've seen over the years, so.
okay.
Mhm.
And for our after-school supplies, I see that went down. That's the same thing we looked at, we don't,
Just based on trend, and what they've been doing, over the past, we looked at 5 years, what they've been doing.
okay.
You know, I see a line item for repairs and maintenance. My concern is, does that cover, say if we ever upgrade or we get the parks fixed, like equipment, if something breaks, say like a swing, that it can be replaced and repaired?
So, yes, that is for, those type of repairs, not necessarily any upgrades.
No,
Any
not upgrade, whatever that's existing, just repairing it.
Right.
Replacing, say like a swing, break,
Correct.
basketball,
Splash pad goes
yeah.
down, you know, things of that nature, bathroom repairs, those type of things, yes.
And that's why I was asking about the turf. Is that included in there? Because at some point, if we keep using the field and we're not doing any maintenance to the field, at some point, we don't want it to tear totally up. And then we're looking at now, we need to spend money. We spent a lot of money on that field.
So that would be something that I can get with Mr. Williams and discuss. I haven't seen any maintenance that has been done, on that. But he would be able to, do the research to find out the cost and get that number to me. But you will see their repair and maintenance did increase by a significant amount, and that's mainly due to the air conditioners. We've done, a major repair on the ACs, here recently. In the gym, we spent about $5,000 cleaning out the coils and repairing or replacing the filters. I had a conversation with Mr. Williams about regular maintenance and regular replacement of the filters. There are a lot of filters up there, so the monthly cost would be around $500 or so a month for that. But that is the reason why you see that increase in their maintenance budget, is to account for those filters and upkeeping the ACs. He did mention to me that when the tech was out here, that they will be needing to replace the coil soon. So that is a part of that as well.
Replace or clean?
So have they given an
Replace.
estimate of, excuse me, of what that would cost?
I am working with him on getting those figures. I have asked for those things, so I'm waiting for him to get those numbers to me.
Okay. So when we're saying repairs and maintenance, those items are not pretty much outlined, because I mean, she's asking about the turf, I'm asking about the playground, and I'm looking at the amount that's in there. Then we was talking, and that covers the air conditioning and
Yes, it's based on, again, the trends over the years. I mean, we can't know what's gonna break and need to be fixed. Maintenance we can account for, which is why, like I said, we have accounted for those filters being replaced every month. But things like repairs, you know, we can put some cushion in there for it, but we can't predict when those things will need to happen.
the things I'm talking about, like with the playground, I mean, with the park, is just minor, even whether it's Commissioner Park or MLK, say if something as simple as a change break on a swing. I mean, having money in the budget to be able to just replace something like that.
Right. That's what that line item is for.
I just have one more question. Up here at the top where it says 3% cost of living increase and a 2.5% performance increase, does that mean that they're going to automatically get this, or we're just putting it in there?
So if you'll notice, there are no numbers on those lines. We have not accounted for an increase. whether it be cost of living or performance, in the budget. It just, it's hard to support that. If you all would like us to take a look at that, we can. However, you will see on the COLA and performance increase and part-time wages, some departments will have a number there, and that is only part-time, wages. It's not a COLA, an increase or anything of that nature. So the departments that have part-time workers will have a figure in that, line item.
Question, so recreation use 14,000, are you just projecting, would they use $5,000 or $6,000 of fuel?
Recreation fuel.
Fuel, we have $12,000 there.
We're budgeting 12,000, but currently they're at about 66,000 spent for the year. We have this was as of May. I'm sorry, this is as of May. So
Quarterly?
no, for the year.
I mean, from January to May.
No,
Oh, for
from
July.
October to May. So whatever they spend for the rest of the year, that's about half of the year. So they have, I mean, that's where they are at that point. So we're budgeting it. They'll spend about that much for the rest of the year.
I'm just trying to look at this, see what we can cut for some things we know that's important, because again, these street signs is important to me, and it's a safety that if we can back some money out from somewhere. I know we're saying we're gonna look at this, but this is during our budget time that we need to look to see, because yes, everybody has to tighten up their budgets, and so, and being accountable for the funds that we're spending, like, there are some things that really I think is important that we need to look at, that if we can cut back. I know these are some numbers that you all have given us, but if we see where it needs to be cut back, we need to note it and go and look at it and see. You know, with fuel being one, with Parks and Rec, I guess they explain spending that kind of money and needing that much in gas when we're just going from the schools here. I know we go on trips sometime, but is it taking that large amount of money for Parks and Rec? Because we only have one vehicle that's being driven home, and then we have the buses, and they're just, like I said, going from the schools that's surrounding here and back to it. I'm trying to understand how we're using that much in fuel, and if we can cut back on that. So I know we looking at these numbers, so we need to be able to explain, you know, how we're using this amount of fuel, and if we can cut back to put for some of the items that we think is important, and that's a safety issue in our community.
So again, that could be attributed to the age of the vehicles. Again, like I said, we have a lower miles per gallon partially. But as far as where they're driving the vehicles and how much fuel they're using, that's a conversation for Mr. Williams that we can have. But I was going to point out, if you look at page 7, the proposed budget comparison by fund,
From the back or the front?
and from the front. From the front. I'll wait for you all to get there.
Proposed budget by comparison, you said? Okay.
So if you look at that and you'll see the departments, most departments decreased in expenditures. So we cut as much as we could see. You'll notice the clerk's office did increase because we accounted for a temporary position to help the clerk's office in there, about 25,000. So that's about how much she increased. As well as finance, there's the procurement position there that's accounting for the increase there. IT increase based on
Excuse me. What's the amount for the procurement position? 'Cause I know you got these totals here.
So we budgeted for a salary of 85,000.
Excuse me, 85,000?
Yes.
A procurement?
There is a range. There's a range on that. And it doesn't
Well,
mean
what's
they're
the-
getting the whole amount. It based on the qualifications of the person.
But that's a new position.
That's the minimum, the minor, I mean, the minimum is
maximum.
85.
No, that's the max. That's the max. There's a range in there.
So you put the whole
So-
85,000 in there
We put the whole 85,000 in there.
for 2026, 27?
Does that
That's
not
include
all
their
of it.
health insurance,
That
life
includes,
insurance?
yes, it
and
includes all of
all
that.
the other
Correct.
benefits associated with it?
And that's the same
Not
throughout.
included in the 85, it's included in the
It's
budget,
in the
but the
budget.
85 is the salary
Just
alone.
strictly salary?
Mhm.
That's just the salary, not including the benefits.
No.
Yeah, the benefits in the section above. They're in another section.
So once the benefits are added, that could potentially put that person at $90,000?
Well, the
Thereabouts.
position would be, at 90. Their take-home wouldn't be 90, but, that position would cost the city, the upwards of 90,000 at that salary, at 85.
And it is the same for all the positions. All the positions are arranged the same way. It's just the amount, and then you add on to the other benefits. The benefits are on a different line item.
So who would this person be up under? I mean, what department would she be up under? A he or whatever? I don't know.
Finance.
Under.
So that,
Hold on a minute.
That is a position that we have to bring back to you, but since we're looking at the budget now, we need to look at including it in the budget, and then we go back to the process of how we're going to fill that position, or if we're going to fill that position, but we needed to include it in the budget for now.
okay, so I have a question. Now, I know we had a position that was changed to a strategic planner. And I see we got the grant writing position open. So what happened with that position being funded in the budget?
It's the same position, it's not a new position, it's one or the other.
The
And
grant
the-
writer
and
and
the-
strategic planner?
I mean,
And,
I know-
and the commission approved grant writing, not strategic planning. So it's only one position that's being filled.
Because I didn't even know how, I've been asking how much that position makes, and so how, I mean, so that's why I'm asking now, because I know the position did not come before the commission to be approved. And so I was wondering where were we getting the funding, and I didn't see it in here, and where were we getting the funding from with this additional position as well?
Correct. It's not addition, it's the same position.
Oh, you just,
It's one or the other.
okay.
That,
So
in
it's the
other
same-
words,
it's the
that
same.
position title is gonna go back to its original, what was in
Which
the
was
budget.
grant writer,
Grant writer.
Which is what the
approved the
commissioner
last time.
approved.
Approved. That was already in the approved budget.
In the budget, okay. Okay, on this page where we are, where it says cemetery fund, it says,
What page you?
on that same one where we're talking about, we're on the same page, we're down to the bottom, where it says cemetery fund. So it says, we budgeted $157,000, and the proposed budget amount for $156,000. So we saying that's how much the cemetery is gonna bring in?
Correct.
So if we bring, I guess I'm trying to understand, if we bringing in
much going out?
$158,000
Yeah.
over the last 5 years, how much has gone out that we're in the red? And we've been asking, and I know I've asked that a study be done on this with the cemetery. So if we're bringing in this type of money, you say you guys did a 5-year study, how much in last year, what was the expenditures for the cemetery? Or what
So-
came in last year for the cemetery?
If you go to their, section, it's at, it's the very last, 2 pages for the cemetery. So last year, I don't have their actuals with me, I'm sorry. That's their adopted budget from last year. I do not have the actuals, I can get those for you. However, this year, as of May, they have, brought in $110,000. And that's with, just their operations, sales of plots, sales of, vaults, all the services that they offer. One thing also to consider is to look at those fees that we charge in our cemetery and consider an increase on those fees, because I'm not sure when the last time we increased those, but it's worth taking a look at to bring in additional revenues into the city. Those, along with the marina, as well as the garbage fees that we charge. We had a resolution to increase them back in 2014. It was never enforced, so those rates have been the same since at least 2014. So that's something to consider as well.
But what was
So
the
what-
expenditures though for the cemetery so far? You gave us
The
how much
second
they brought
page.
in so far. What's their
Yes, so on
expenditures
that
so far?
last page, currently, they have expended $140,756.
So they brought in 110 and they spent $140,000?
Correct.
And so what are some, when you all get a chance, can you all provide us what the expenditures look like for the cemetery?
Oh, they're here. They're all here. They're listed. It's about half and half with their salaries and wages, personnel costs, and then the other costs that we have now. We're facing a dilemma in the cemetery right now, which we are moving to rectify. We have submitted the paperwork to get the backhoe, moving along or get it here. However, we charge about $850 to open and close the vaults. And sometimes it costs us more than that. A lot of times it costs us more than that when we have to call in other companies to come and do those services for us.
What's the salary of the person for the cemetery? Is this $85,000?
No, there are two people out there. There are two. I can get it for you.
So there's an administrative person, and then there are two public works persons.
So their
That's
two
assigned to the
salaries is
cemetery.
$85,000?
I think it's three of them, but I think when they have
There's
to
3 people out
go,
there, but I'm just saying what's coming out of the cemetery. I'm just saying, what's the salary of the 2 people that's out there?
There are 3 people out there. One of them is he falls under recreation. So there are only 2 coming from their budget.
And which comes up to this $85,000.
Correct. I'm pulling it up for you.
And I
here.
see it went up to $87,298.
That's due to the increase in insurance costs, workers' comp, liability insurance, those kind of things. That's what increased those.
And so, I know we do have the Henderson Fund that we all talk about that, I haven't really ever got a clear understanding on it. And so they say we can't use any of this fund for the cemetery, but we're supposed to be able to use the interest or something. How much interest is coming in over the past 5 years that you've seen that contributes, that we can use to contribute to the cemetery?
So, as you can see, we budgeted $10,000 this year in interest. So, it's minimal compared to the overall expenditures of the department.
So let me ask a question, because I was reading with the different job description. As the finance director, you are able to invest the city's money.
Correct.
With this Henderson Dow, are we able to, if we see that we're not getting a good interest rate on this, I don't know anything about the fund, but are you able to find out information to find out if what we've been doing is not working, that we can invest it in another way so that we can be able to get other funds, since we can't touch the actual funding and we can only touch the interest rate. And you can see and look at some options and bring to the commission to say, hey, here's a better way that we can invest these fundings, that we may be able to get a better rate for our return.
Correct, and that is something that's on my list of things to do, to look at some other options as far as investments for the city. However, there are some things that we have to adhere to. We have to look at risk. We have to look at liquidity. We have to look at the return and the benefits of, certain investments. So, but yes, that is something that is on my list of things to dig into. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, but since I know you as the finance director says that you can research and look at and bring it back to us and explain to us with your research what you found, that, because of this, we've only been getting this, because that's what I'm starting to look at, with how we have our money invested and what do we at, because we're supposed to get a report monthly on our money that's invested and how it's doing and how it's invested, where it's invested at, so we can look to see how we can get more bang for our bucks for our money. So if we can at least start doing that, and so when we're looking at the budget, if we've had that to say this is how we got our money invested and this is what it's bringing in, maybe we want to look at changing it, and then this will help us during the budget season if we see what we've been doing and we need to do something different.
No, I completely agree. And again, like I said, that's something that is on my list of things to dig into so that we can see, what we can be doing to get some higher returns on our investments.
Because we don't want to continue to look at going in debt each time, and each time the auditors come and we are in the red each time. So that's why I'm saying look at doing something different.
So in your package, about 20 pages from the back is the Henderson Endowment Fund. So you can see the actual spreadsheet for the last 2 years and what's estimated for the current year. And another project that we're currently working on as well with the marina, and then next will be the cemetery, is we're revamping all the fees because those fees have not changed in years. And so what we've done is analyze for the marinas throughout the state of Florida to see what their fees are, and ours are the lowest. So that is in progress, and we'll have that to you shortly. Then we move on to the cemetery.
Are we in progress of leasing it out or something? Because it's been sitting there for
Yeah, that's what I've
some
been
years
asking
now.
about, doing something with it.
Leasing what out? The cemetery?
The marina.
The marina?
The campground, yeah, marina.
Yes, we're in talks now. We've talked to a couple of individuals, but we need to know where we are first as well. And so we're updating those documents. So while we're researching as well and negotiating, at least we can update our fees and get some monies in. It's just that the fees have not been changed in years.
And also, since we're on that topic, can we get a review of all of the sites to see what's working and what's not working, and assessment to see what's actually working and what's not working?
What do you mean on the marina? The different
From what I was told, some of
campsites, the different
sites,
camp slots.
yeah, don't have appropriate. Yeah, they don't have the capability of the electricity or whatever the case might be,
Okay.
for if somebody wanted to hook up to that particular site.
So we will look into that because I was told that they all have water and electricity. So we'll look into each of those.
And what it may be possibly what it might take to get those repaired. Because I mean, if we get them repaired, that can increase our.
What I would suggest also
Yes.
is that we have a built-in calculation that will indicate an increase every so often with regards to those revenues that we have in place, instead of us sitting here saying for 10 years this cost to rent or utilize this particular service has been the same, and we know that over time everything, the cost of doing everything increases. So we should have a built-in calculation that is intended to increase those revenues over a period of time and not have to, go in the hole to continue operating.
Correct. Once we get this in place, then we will be prepared to continue to look at the inflation rate and know when we need to increase. So yes, that is the plan.
Okay.
And I have a couple of more questions on the pages that we're on. So, where it says under general fund, transfer out, is that money that we're putting, where it says transfer in and transfer out? So just looking at the marina, transfer in, we budgeted $377,000. And, last year that was what, and this year, and then I see we have those parentheses around it. What does that mean when you're saying transfer in?
So that is where the general fund is supporting the marina. So, for the proposed budget that we're looking at, you'll see that 91,246. This is on the proposed budget comparison page. I believe it was page 7 that we were looking at.
The same page, yeah, that we were just on, the same one with the general fund.
So, yeah, so you'll see that 91,246, that is a transfer into the marina from the general fund to support their operations.
So, for its revenues for the marina, we saying we're bringing in, well, we said we budgeted 216 last year, proposed budget today, 198,000. And we've only brought in 17,000. Is that where we're at, 17,202?
That's the variance.
That's the variance, yeah, for the marina.
No, so currently the marina has brought in 118,691.
118,000 for the marina. And so,
As of May, I'm sorry, I keep saying currently, as of May.
but they're not bringing in enough with their expenditures.
No, they're not.
And with the marina being, I know we have lights and water up there, and we don't have, I'm just trying to figure, what's the expenditures?
So the main ones, like you just mentioned, are the lights and the water. Repair and maintenance is a big one for them as well. And then operating supplies, is another area that they have a lot of expenditures in.
For example, with the water, it's a ready-to-use fee. Even if it's a site that's not being utilized, we still charge a fee for that site in water.
Okay, so my question is, and I think this has come up before, for more revenue, we're in the budget year. So you get phone calls, people come in on the weekend, on Fridays, because they know we have nobody at the marina. They stay up there and leave early Monday morning because they know that, that's when the people come back to work. Are we looking at doing something different in order to bring revenue into the marina? Because if you got someone coming up there on a Friday, they staying up there all weekend, I mean, if they're gonna be doing that, are we looking at where we can have like a package for that to come in over the weekend, and have a fee for that, or having someone there to make sure this is not happening, because we're losing money. And so we're going in the hole every year. So are we looking at doing something different as far as this?
So as far as staff at the marina, I know the clerk is there on Saturdays. Her off days are Sunday and Tuesday. So we do have her there on one day over the weekend. So I'm not aware of the issue that you're raising now, but I would defer to the city manager on that.
She just wanted to clarify, there's a marina clerk and a city clerk, so we know the difference.
It's not the city clerk.
There are differences. So the answer to your question is yes. As we are reviewing the packages and reviewing the process, one of the things is how do individuals check in, and then how do they check out? So sad to say, currently they just leave, and so the question that I had is, do you have a form for them to fill out? Do you have all of this? So we're revising that process because there has to be a checkout process as well. And to your point as well, if they're not checking out, how do you know
When they
who
check
paid
in.
to check in? And so those are all the things that we looked at, and we are revamping the entire process because that was the first thing I asked when we went there. Let's go through the entire process. What are you doing? How do you do? What's the documentation? What do they fill out? All of those things are there. How do you know and do you check every day? And so that's one of the things that the custodian that does, the maintenance person there does as well. He does go and he check every slot because they know when slots are filled and when they're empty. So he does check every slot early in the morning, and then they go back and they ride through. So they'll know who's there and who should not be there. But to your point as well, if they're coming and leaving, and you have not checked them in, you could easily miss someone, and that is a concern.
So my next question is, you say the clerk is up there. Is that impacting our budget? Because now she's working outside of being the city clerk, and she's now.
No, it's not the city
They're
clerk.
individual.
That's
they're
the marina
individual.
clerk.
It's a marina clerk.
Oh,
They're-
the,
Yes,
oh, I
I'm
That-
sorry, I
that's-
didn't clarify. I didn't clarify. It's the marina clerk.
That is what,
And
yeah.
not only that, you
She's
mentioned,
split between both.
Oh, okay.
you mentioned she works on weekends, on Saturday,
Saturday.
what time she get off. So
I
if
don't
she get
know.
off at 5 or even 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
that evening is open from that time until Sunday morning or whenever.
Is it any kind of way?
I
we
don't
can-
know her hours,
Is
so
it
I
any
can't.
kind of, you haven't looked at, could we like put a lock on the water,
You need
and a
a
lock
lock.
on it?
We can.
I think if we lock it. and
Then
we-
they
yeah,
can't come and
they
get
can-
it.
Yeah, they can park there, but they won't have no.
They
use
won't
of
have any electricity or
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
So that's my
that
concern,
is.
because like, she's saying someone is up there, but I'm,
Right.
listen, people have come to say, look, these people up here, and you can go up there and talk to the people, and they say, oh, nobody is here, so, we figured it's open on the weekend. It's open, so, and not there on Sundays, and so if she wasn't there when they came, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if she's walking to see if the people are there or not, and so we're losing money, is
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
We do
And
have,
then
we do
if
have,
she-
a
and
we
then
do
if she
have the
leaving at 5
maintenance.
o'clock, and
We
people-
have the maintenance person that does check, but to your point, yes, that is a valid situation, which is what we're trying to address when we go through the entire process and making some changes in that process.
Yeah, I hear you saying they check.
Saying that they
They
supposed to be
do.
there?
They have a process and her number to call, and you do have individuals that will call, and she will know when they're coming in, and she'll tell them to go on, you're in slot whatever, and she'll give them the slot number that they are assigned to, and then when she comes in the work, they come back and officially sign in. So there is a process, but we are looking at automating that process because they should be able to register online as well and not wait on anyone to be there. So there are quite a few changes that are taking
I'm
place.
saying,
And-
normally when you go somewhere, they'll give you a thing, hang up on your.
That's what I was
window.
about to ask.
They'll hang,
Some type of
do we
pass.
Parking
provide that?
pass.
Have parking
A parking
pass or
pass? Do we
something.
provide
the-
parking passes?
Parking pass.
That means if the maintenance person, he's just driving through, he
Just
just
driving.
look up at the vehicle, see what color we using this
Correct.
week.
Yeah.
You change it every week. You don't just, stay with the same color.
Yeah,
Correct.
because they very techy, but the thing of it is, we know that we don't have our employees work 7 days a week to monitor that. So we definitely need to implement a way to have a better monitoring of what is actually transpiring with those cabins up there.
So we don't lose money, and when we're looking at our
I know this
budget
might
every
be
year, we're trying to
far-fetched,
keep
and I
it.
don't know how much this would cost, but what about a security gate that way if they got a pass, if you actually sign in or you actually checked in, where if somebody there that can open the gate, but if you don't have a pass,
They ride around there.
you know what I'm saying, put something,
Talking about to the,
establish more security where they can't ride around it.
Right, so
and that's for the camper,
Yeah.
for the camping
That-
area.
that was a recommendation in the audit. It has been one
It used to be
ongoing
one.
to get some kind of secure
Security gate.
fencing
Yeah.
gate or something up there. So it is again in
Be
our
enforced.
capital improvement plan. So
But we might be getting off topic.
it's to come. Are there any other questions that you all have looking at the budget? I know you haven't had a whole lot of time to go through it.
I do, I have one more question.
Okay.
Let me go to, I'm gonna go to Parks and Recreation,
Mm-hmm.
because I know this was a concern for me. Let me find out where Park and Recreation are in here. Now, I know last year we had no money, revenues coming in from Parks and Recreation, so, I went through all of this, and I can't remember everything. I'm just trying to see, do we have funds for coming in this year, because I know we do have games, and that was a concern of ours, that we were supposed to be going moneyless, and we were supposed to been getting these little machines and all of this, because we said there were no revenues that came in last year in Parks and Recreation. But we have games up there, and we know we charge. And so I know they were saying they lumped the money into general fund. And so I'm just looking at this budget, we want to make sure, because when it comes to, like, we talking about maintenance and maintaining, if Parks and Recreation is bringing in funds, we need to see what they're bringing in. And so that's what I want to look at.
So to answer your question, we have 3 cashless devices that we are planning to use starting this year. The first home game will be on August 8th. And we've been testing this now for probably about 4 weeks. And it has worked well in the test. And we will have a meeting with the Parks and Rec individuals as well. So the plan is to go cashless. We have 3 cashless devices. We will have the City Hall staff will be manning it for the first 2 games, so we can make sure the process is working. Once they are paying with the cashless devices, then that information goes directly to the finance system, and so we're able to capture how much money came in on that particular day, and so we'll be able to now rectify the issue where there are almost sold out crowds at the games, but there's no cash coming in, which is what we've been hearing. So yes, we do have a plan in place for that, and that plan will start this year. The first game is on August 8th, so those will be the home games.
So my question is, yes, we're going cashless, but still, what accountability system are we gonna have in place that each person that comes in to make sure Lil Ray can come in, oh, I don't have no money, you come on through. So we're gonna have an accountability system in place for each person that comes in. So like if you come in this week, we giving out a blue bracelet and they wanna go back out and they say, oh, I left my bracelet or whatever and I don't have my bracelet. Are we gonna have a system in place, being accountable for that even though we're going cashless?
Yes. So what we have, and we've worked with Park and Recs to see how they've handled that in the past. So each week there's a different color bracelet, and the bracelet is put on where it doesn't slip off your arm and you can't remove it. So we're gonna be giving policies and procedures as to how this process will work. So that's why we're meeting with them next week to go through the entire process. Then we start advertising it for our community as well, so they know what the process is.
And also, I've attended a couple of track events and different things. I don't know if that's something that we want to explore. There's different companies probably do it. You pay, they have like an app, you pay through your phone, and then it goes.
Yeah.
And that way, everybody
That is
has
what that is what the school system
Yeah, that's what
uses,
schools do.
but they don't. It's only for the school system, the one that we've seen.
No, this one, this was actually Parks and Rec Department. I'm trying to think of the city. It's up
If you
around
can-
Orlando and Kissimmee.
Okay,
I went to
if
a
we
track.
can get them, because the one that the schools use is only for the school
schools,
systems, yeah.
And
so
then,
that
I
would
don't know
help.
if this was a
That would help.
private company that was doing it, but it was their Parks and Recreation Department.
I
that-
have
You
But
can,
the other,
I'm
and
sorry.
then let Commissioner Scott go, the other item included in that as well, for years, the individuals come to City Hall and pay as well. So we will continue that process also. So they come to City Hall, they pay for the games also. So they've been doing that for years. So we're trying to make sure that the whole process meshed together really well, so we can address all the issues. But I think we will address most of them, and then we will continually update. But yes, if you can get us that,
Yeah, I
that
was
will
trying to
help
get some name, the
greatly.
name of that company. there.
So we don't
Commissioner
have that
Scott
in the
had-
budget.
Commissioner Scott had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Or comment.
I might have a suggestion. I suggest that when the bands, that you pre-order the bands with the dates on them.
That's good.
Because I can tell you, I got a truckload of bands out there. They're different colors. And that's what they, yeah, because when we do stuff, we give out the bands, and everybody, you know, they have bands. They just go get them. But now, what you can do is put whatever game it is on the band, or the date on the band. Let's put the city logo on the band.
Okay.
That way you don't have to worry about, you know, other people done brought bands from other places. It's just, yeah, that's what they do.
Thank
And
you.
also,
I was going,
and also just to add to what I was saying, on that device, when you pay on the card, it keeps a thing on your phone where that is your ticket. That will replace the band.
Yeah.
you can also, for the city or that particular department, create a Zelle or a Cash App so that they can do cashless payments that way. So, but I wanted to ask, when they register to play football, because I know football is the biggest one. You know, we don't have all of that, you know, back and forth when it comes to basketball and any other sports that we have. But the recreation, the registration for football, does that include the uniform as well? When they come and sign up to play football, does that fee include the uniform?
I cannot
And how
answer,
are
I
we
cannot
being
answer that question, but I
compensated?
know they do have a uniform fee. That I can't answer for sure, but there's a separate there's a uniform fee, and they have the registration.
So we have vendors that are available to supply the uniforms?
Yes.
And I think what should happen.
You mean, I'm sorry, I said they're vendors, do they purchase their uniforms from a particular vendor?
Yes.
Yes.
So now, is that like something that's monopolized, or I know a couple of years ago, there was a player that was in our football program. They did not have a uniform that could fit him. So me and another citizen, we got together and purchased his shoulder pads and his shoes. So that's why I'm asking if that fee that they pay to play football includes their uniform.
I have not gone into it that detail because the Parks and Rec has been handling that, but they are revising. And I was at their meeting last week where they were informing them that it's now time to do your registration, and also they also issued a uniform. So I can't answer for sure, but I'm pretty sure they pay for their uniforms, they pay for the registration. That's what it pays for.
But I want
But
to. I want the question that I'm really trying to get to is that is it an exclusive vendor, or do we have several vendors that are available to supply the uniforms that these kids need for the football program?
Again, I can't answer that. My understanding is that there's one vendor that we have, and they are a licensed vendor with the city of Pahokee.
Okay, I guess when you can bring us some more information,
Correct.
I might
I'll
be
find
able
out for
to
them because I haven't gone into it.
get
that far.
some more questions with regards to it, and you know,
And
as far as that is
I
concerned.
think too, if we're paying a registration, whatever you're paying for should be outlined on that registration form. If it includes the uniform or whatever you're paying for, whatever that fee is for, should be outlined. Exactly.
It probably is. I just haven't seen it. I'm just saying I haven't seen it. I'm pretty sure it is because they've been using this process for years and it seems to work. So I just haven't looked at the uniform. My focus is on the low-hanging fruit, those things that we know are not working well, the ones that are working, and then that work.
Right. Well,
and
I
then we'll
wouldn't
come
call
back to
that working if I pay for my child to play football and they don't provide his equipment or uniform.
And they provide
that
all
would
of
fit
that,
him.
but your question was, is it included in that? That I can't answer for sure, but they provide the uniforms.
Right.
for
Okay.
all
We can
students. Yeah.
definitely revisit this at a later date.
My question is back, about the budget. The money that we're raising from football, is it included in the budget that we have when we projected at what we're going to be making? I see we have it here. Is it in the capital project fund, or is that money not included in this budget at all? That's what I'm trying to find out.
So it is included. There are line items on here. You'll see,
Maybe I missed it. That's what I'm trying to see.
flip about 5 pages past where we were on the proposed budget comparison, you'll start to see the revenues outlined.
And
Schedule
that's
of
for-
budgeted revenues.
Is that for recreation department or is just?
So
Parks and Rec.
the revenues generated by Parks and Rec goes into the general fund. It does not only support Parks and Rec, it supports.
I'm just trying to make sure they're on the right page.
So
That's
then
all I'm
how,
asking.
if we wanted to know what they're actually bringing in so that, because we want the departments to be sustainable for themselves. So the money that's coming from general fund for them, we want to be able to see when we're doing our budget, are they able to sustain a lot of themselves instead of just putting the money in the general fund is what I'm wanting us to see. What are they actually bringing in a year and compare that to what their expenses are. And then maybe that's some money that we can free up somewhere else because Parks and Rec is able to sustain on their own.
So that is considered a service offered by the city, which is why it goes into the general fund and not a separate one. However, you can see what they are bringing in. Again, if you look at that page, the schedule of budgeted revenues, down at the bottom, you'll see admission/gate fees, and you'll see what they've generated thus as of May. There under the actuals. You'll see, if you flip over to the next page, you'll see cheerleader registration. There's nothing there as they have not collected any monies this current fiscal year for cheer.
So let me ask a question right over the last 5 years, you're looking at this. We're saying that they only gonna bring in $1,500 this year. We went from 16,000 to 1,500. And so you say you did your research for the last 5 years. What have they brought in that we brought it from 16,000 to $1,500?
So what I can say is in that line item, based on what was there, this is what I've seen. Now, that could mean that maybe they brought in more and it was placed in a different line item, like possibly football registration. I can't say. I don't know. I mean, I can go back and look. I don't know if I would be able to tell for certain whether or not it was a cheer fee. Because if it was recorded as a football registration, then that's all I have to go on. Is what I'm saying.
But the paperwork, so we don't have any documentation that we can look at, and we have the department head there that you can't get this information for the last year or the year before?
So Parks and Rec should have I would imagine they have their registration forms. We don't keep their registration forms.
Yeah, I would like to see.
They should have those. So that would be an item for Mr. Williams.
Yeah, that's a big
generate.
concern. That's a big concern of mine. We're gonna go from 16,000 to 1,500.
That's not to say that that's what it will be. Just based on what has gone into that line item over the years, that's what I could see. Like again, if it was coded to the wrong line, to a different line, then it would show up there. Because it could have been that they put it on the football registrations. I don't know.
I would like for us. I would like to see.
To answer your question as well, yes, you can pull reports from the system to see what came in that day, and so that is another avenue with the cashless devices as well. That will help in that area greatly. So we can give that. One of the other things that we're doing as well is that when there are expenditures and we are writing checks, we are doing it with a check and not using monies that were collected that day, because then you have no control over or are able to tell what's really occurring. So we are changing those procedures as well so that now we can truly audit the process.
And the thing is too, I think with regards to that process, there has to be some method of checks and balances in place. So if you're saying that you collected, I'm gonna just throw a number out, $15,000 for football registrations, then you need those applications to be provided, or at least reviewed to show that, yes, this stack of applications here brought in $15,000 worth of registrations for the football. So we can't just be flying by the seat of our pants and, just doing this, that, or the other, and not checking and balancing the process that we have in place.
And that is why we're changing the process, so we do have a check and balance process, because those forms are filled out. So they are doing their due diligence from that point, and when those registration forms are completed, they are kept. And so we don't have them at headquarters, but we are putting items in place so we are able to check that process and then give a check and balance, as well as whenever there are any expenses, as I just stated, those expenses will be written out from the finance department with a check. So another process in place that we can easily check and put some balances in place.
So I totally agree with that, and I do believe that recreation should be responsible for storing those files. But I believe too that there should be some type of electronic record on hand somewhere at City Hall, so that if we need to review those records, that they're available to us, and we don't have to worry about situations that you have in City Hall right now where there's a stack of papers on the floor and you don't know what's in that stack. So that's an issue or a concern that I have with regards to those records that supposedly are on file to document this action or that action.
What I will say to this point is that any funds that are collected for registrations must come through City Hall. So the Parks and Rec Department, they aren't receiving checks, they aren't receiving any cash. Parents are coming to City Hall to pay their registration fees. So if it is collected, it is collected by City Hall. Again, the issue comes with the accounting of those funds. So if the person who received the funds said this is for football registrations, then it's gonna go under football registrations and appear to be a football registration, even if it's cheer.
So
is what I'm saying.
When did that start? Is that something that is new, or has that been in place for some time?
I can't say.
It's just been too many questions with regards to how we are handling this program and the proceeds that are collected with regards to that particular program, which we know in this area, football is the bomb.com, but we want to make sure that we are properly, taking care of what the city is provided in the way of revenue for that, not just that program, for any program that we have in our city, so that we can take care of our kids and their needs, and also other departments can be used for the purposes intended.
So from my understanding, that has been in place for a while, and that is the process, that at least the football team, and I'm thinking all of them do the same thing, they come to City Hall and pay. The one area that we have lacked in is the audit on that process. We have not audited that process, and that's what we're putting in place. So just like we should be auditing the finance system, with everything else, we need to audit each of those areas as well.
For sure.
So at least on a quarterly basis, but monthly, we balance them, and then quarterly, we can audit them as well. Even if we don't, if we get to the point where we need to audit them every month, then we do that. But for sure, on a quarterly basis, we need to have audits in place, and that's what we're setting up.
And my concern is, we had these same questions last year at the budget meeting. We're back again this year with the same concern. We're saying places, we're saying that we have these systems in place, and I know both of you all are new. But we got to hold people accountable when it comes to our monies, because even though we have new staff here, we should not be at this same point again this budget year. This was a concern last year, and we're back here in the same thing again this year. It's unacceptable. We have money coming in. Here it is, we have the finance director telling us she don't know where the money was placed at. That's unacceptable. We have people, I'm sure, in the finance department that was here last year. She's the only new one that I know that's in the finance department. So the other people that were in the finance department, they should be able to come up with these answers for us that we're asking the finance director today. This is acceptable for this to keep continuing on and on. We don't know if it was placed in the general fund. We don't know if it was placed under football. That's unacceptable to me as a commissioner. Because if we're here talking about our budget and we're talking about that we need to know if the monies that we have in coming in can be used for Parks and Rec, we can't even justify the money that we've gotten in to know whether this program over here can even sustain itself or not, because we're taking money from our general fund. We have problems with our roads. This is money that we probably can use out of the general fund to get some of our roads fixed, to get some lighting throughout the community, but we can't even justify for the money that's coming in, which is unacceptable. This is the second year I've been up here, and we've had this same concern. It's unacceptable.
I totally agree. We need to know where the
agree.
money is.
And again, that is why we're putting policies and procedures in place. So we shouldn't have to go through this year after year. The policies and procedures will be put in place, and that way all we have to do is pull the reports because we know where it's going.
Okay, any other, questions?
Those were my major concerns that those were my major questions that I had after reviewing everything. And this is why I was wanting to know that, because then we could have seen where we can cut in the budget. But we can't sit here and say we can cut anything because we really don't know with
Well, as I was saying, you can see everything that has been, if it was paid at City Hall, it's here. The only concern issue are the funds that are collected on site at the football games. It is accounted for here. Now, whether it says cheer or football, that's another thing that would have to be researched. I haven't done the research on that. But if it was collected for a registration for cheer or football, it's here.
Right. And my next concern is that I have, when I look at Parks and Recreation, we need to stop putting in this budget year after year track. We know we're not doing track. We list these programs on here. We're not following up with it. We keep asking about it. We've even heard the comment, track. We can't do track because track costs too much. But we come and put a budget before this commission every year in regards to track. We put basketball on here, and we have basketball at very low. We've asked for soccer. We asked for other programs, and we get these same budgets that came from whoever the past manager was done, and we putting the same information on here. And if we're talking to the Parks and Recreation people, we're not seeing what this commission is asking for. We were supposed to have a variety of programs. It should be growing every year. But every year since I've been here, we get this same budget with these same programs on here. And I would like for this to go, I'm being honest, to go back, and we need to have other programs put on here to meet the needs of the entire community. Our Parks and Recreation needs to do that, and I would like to see that on this budget where it's going to be done. Track, we're not offering no track, so why are we putting it on this budget before this commission? And I won't sit here and say I'm happy with it, because I'm not.
Well, if you'll look at that line item, specifically track, there is no budget in that line item.
But why we have it on here if we're not gonna do it?
Because
That's
it was budgeted last year, so to show the carryover, it's there. But there is no budget. We aren't expecting any revenues to come in from track.
So why are we even putting it on here if we're not gonna offer it and we're not expecting anything to come in? Again, just because it was on the budget last year doesn't mean we put it back on here again this year.
It's the format of the packet.
So what we will have to do, commissioners, is on the track line registration, if you will see that $250 meant that $250 was there last year. We don't just drop it off. So once we identify where we will move those monies to, then we can delete that line item. But we have to make sure that there's an audit trail, so the money just isn't disappearing. So
Right.
it needs to be placed someplace.
But some of
So
the
we can
programs that
identify
this
that.
commission has asked for this community, that the community have said that they want, we need to see some of these
Understand.
Programs go into fruition and not just put them on paper, like baseball. They haven't done anything with baseball. We put it on here, but we're not following through with it. and we're putting it on our budget. That's the only thing that I'm saying. If we're budgeting for these items, we need to be doing it. The only thing we're doing on here is the football. And that's where we see all the money going, and it's like the other activities and the other sports have been put to the side, and we putting all our effort in one sport. And that's not what we should be doing
Understand.
as a city. That's
So
my
we do have the
concern.
basketball, but I do understand, so we will make that happen. One of the things that was talked about also in the Parks and Recs, board meeting is turning the field into a multi-purpose field. And so you have soccer, you have all the other, sports there as well. So that is being considered and looked at as well. But we do hear you. I've taken notes so that we can address those items for you.
All right, thank you. And there's no, nothing with you all, but you all wasn't here.
Understand,
But I'm
but you-
just saying, I don't want us to continue to do the
Understand.
normal when we say, oh, it was there last year. Because it was there last year, that doesn't mean it's right to keep putting it on here year after year, and we're not doing anything with it. So we're not doing the normal that we normally do. That's the only thing that I'm saying. We want to meet the needs
We hear you.
of the entire
Agree.
community.
I would like to be specific too. If we're gonna put soccer on there, let's specifically say youth soccer, just like we have with our football program, 12 and under, 6 and under, 8 and under, and try to target something for the other interests in our community.
Ain't doing that. I have a question. That, the towers, I see one of them got like a drape over it or something. Was he doing maintenance to the water tower or something? Don't we supposed to receive funds from those FPNL and all those people that using those towers? Cause I don't see it in here.
It's there.
It's there. Cell phone service.
So if you look at, the revenues, that where we were looking prior to, so go back towards the front. Okay, here, so go to your previous page. Under the schedule of budgeted revenues, you'll see water utility service tax, propane utility service tax, electric utility service tax. Those are where.
Not that. I'm talking about the
cell towers.
the cell
Yeah.
towers.
Cell phone towers.
Cell towers. We have
FPN.
3 of them that I see that we have cell things on, but I don't never see where we receiving no funds from it.
The communication service tax.
Yes, we do.
What is it?
We do.
That's right above the water.
So,
That's for all 3 of those towers, or just?
That's monies that we get from the cell phone companies. They
I
collect the
understand.
tax on the bill, so we get that. If you look at your bill, you'll see a tax on there, a local
I see
tax.
it. I see it on there.
That's what that is referring to.
What I'm referring to is that we have 3 of them.
The cell phone towers,
Yeah, because it's one out there where I live on the water tower, and it's one down like going toward Canal Point. And it's 2 down there, and it's just a tower down there. And one of them is kind of like, I don't know, had something over it yesterday. Like, I didn't know whether they was painting it or covering it or whatever.
down East Main.
Mm-hmm.
I can look into that and get back with you with
Yeah,
a more clear answer on that one.
Yeah, because we have a lot, we have a lot of them, a communication, cell phone thing, but I'm wondering how much we actually getting, because
How much
$7,000-8,000 ain't a lot of money for all those that we got.
and is that included in the capital project fund that you gave, where you gave the proposed budget and how much everything? Is that money in the capital project fund
Which money?
that he's talking about with the FP&L and the,
That's general fund. The only thing we have in capital projects are the 2 grants that we have, which is McClure and Phase 4.
okay, so now I have another question. So you put that in under general fund. So, let me just ask a question. Let me see if I missed it. So did you
Yes,
break
thanks,
down
too.
for us to tell us exactly, let me see. So what was that call again, what he was just talking about?
Communication service taxes?
He's asking about cell phone towers. what I was explaining was the communication service tax, which is a tax that you get on your cell phone bill,
Yeah.
every month.
And so up under here, what did you put that up under? When I'm looking at it, I see you got ad valorem, sales and use tax. That's what you got it up under?
Communication service tax, it's a little further down.
Communication service tax.
314,100.
I see franchise, utility,
It's right up under there.
and a government, maybe I'm
On
missing.
page 29,
Oh, no.
Oh, no, not on that page, yeah,
Not
you
on-
can go to the, the
I
schedule
know,
of
but what I'm
budgeted
saying, when
revenue.
you look on the other pages, it's nowhere on there.
Because you're on a different page, so that's grouped by categories.
Okay, so see like right here, that make up the 5.6, but I don't, where would it be at in here though?
Yes, it would be sales and use taxes. It would be included in sales, or I'm sorry,
Page 20.
utility service, those are utilities. But if you wanna see them broken down one by one, they're gonna be here.
So, under utility services, and so utility is considered water, propane, electric, communication, okay.
And I can provide a breakdown of that, if you would like to see what goes into those different categories.
So, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Wait, Ms. Goddard, maybe you can help me, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. So it goes over here to the 106,300
For
on that page, on the page you
which
just
one are you
showed.
looking for?
Right here for the utility tax on this one. It matches up to 106,000. Let me show you,
No, it's gonna be that 441.
the 441. But when you add them, what is it, 4?
I would have to get the listing of what, cause they're not all, for all of them, they're not all right there together. Some of them jump around and other things are included in them. But in total, all of the utility taxes do add up to that 441. Again, I can get the breakdown for you, to show you which accounts go into each one.
Okay, yeah, cause if it's just them 4, that's like 516.
No, I can get it for you.
So our budget is actually less this year from last year.
Yes, we decreased.
Decrease.
As evidenced in that, list that I showed you, where you could see the departments and how most of them are less than what they were last year.
I think I had another question. Let me go over here too. There was an increase. Let's see.
This is admission gate fee, $6,000. This what they picked up, they took me for the gate last year?
That was what was budgeted. So currently, the only thing that was there is the 2640. From October to May. So I don't know how many home games we had in October. But we haven't had any games yet. All well, they start in August, so we'll get a few in this fiscal year. Any other items in question?
So what our goal is with the budget is to make sure that we can create a sustainable budget that the city can work from. And so what we did was looked at the budget, work with each of the department heads as well, but we took the actual numbers for like the last 3 years and divided those, and we used that as the budget instead of asking them, what's your budget? Because they're just coming up with information, and most of them did not change. We only had one department who actually reduced their budget. So we took the last 3 numbers, divided them, last 3 years, divided that number, and we used that as the actual. Because if we had not used those funds in 3 years, more than likely we would not be using them again. And so that is what we tried to do to get our budget where we need to be, so that we can all live with this budget, and then we continue to work with it and continue trying to reduce the line items that need to be reduced, so we can, again, as you all have been saying, we need to use those funds so we can build our city up. But just in case we don't get the appropriations or the other money, we have to help ourselves. And so that is what we've done with this budget.
I just have one last question that I
Oh,
looked
as
at
many
too.
as many as you have.
I've looked at it for all other departments, and she may have answered this. So as I look at here, I'm looking through each one for each department for COLA. Now, I noticed that, all right, we have, let me see, make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, so when we look at city clerk, we have nothing in for the 3%, but we have $2,225 in for performance increase. When we look over at finance and accounting for cost of living there, we have $7,803, but we don't have anything for the 2.5% increase. And then when we look over at human resources, I guess I'm just trying to determine how is it that for certain ones you put the 3% cost of living, and for certain ones you put the 2.5, you put the 2.5%. How did that come about?
So that is the prior year's budget that you're referring to. So the current year that we're in, that is the budget for that. If you'll look under the proposed budget column, none of those line items in any department will have a number in them. The only one you'll see with the 3% will be those departments with part-time workers, because part-time falls under that same line item. So there are no COLA increases, no performance increases included in this current budget.
So I guess I'm trying to, how is it that how is it that we didn't put it that if they get an evaluation and they deserve one and we haven't put it in here, and based on their evaluations, are we saying that we're not gonna even look at it whether we decide to give it to them or not, because nothing is in the budget? So because we didn't put it in the budget and a worker has worked and they've been evaluated all year long and they've done well, we're not gonna even put anything in here at all to say, thanks for what you've done.
So would you like that item to be placed in the budget?
Hmm?
Would you like that to be
Yes.
placed in the budget?
Yes, I
Okay.
would like for something to be
Thank
placed
you.
in
For
the
an
budget, of course.
extraordinary,
Okay, thank you.
extraordinary
Yes.
employee that's going above and
Thank you.
beyond.
Yes, I would like for that to be placed in the budget. I mean, if I've worked and I've done something, I'm working and saying it's
So-
not even in the budget for me.
For clarification, is this for full-time or part-time?
Full-time.
It's for full-time.
She's saying for everyone.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
She's
because
saying
I
for
thought you was
everyone.
questioning part-time.
No, full-time.
And so we did look at that, and it was there, but it was taken out. And I mean, it was about just over $50,000 at 3% for each employee. And that's, you know, not to say that everyone will
won't
get it. So
right.
we can add that back in there, just knowing that it will increase the budget by that amount.
And I would just
And
like to
that-
put some emphasis on that. If that is put in place, that's not for someone that's just doing their job. That should be for someone that doing extraordinary above and beyond, that we can give incentive for those type of people.
Correct.
Now,
And they would
you
have
talking
to
about-
have
I'm sorry,
work,
go ahead.
they would have to have worked a certain amount of time
and all
say
that,
6
right.
months or more.
Well,
So-
that would be done on the yearly evaluation anyway. They should be getting
So-
a yearly evaluation.
So for clarification, are we talking about the 3% or the 2.5%, the performance increase?
Well, actually, what we looked at was a 3% COLA increase. So that came up to be about just over 50,000. Now, if you want to say, let's get rid of the COLA and only look at the 2.5% performance increase, we can do that as well, and that'll be obviously less than the 50,000.
So cost of living is not something that's automatic?
No.
It's at your discretion.
Yeah, nothing.
I would think that the cost of living, to me, should be given on an annual basis. And then the 2.5% performance increase would be something that would be at the discretion of whomever the supervisor is, and ultimately the city manager. Because you do have those individuals that go above and beyond, but everybody, you know, hey, cost of living is a cost of living. We need that to be able to keep up with inflation. But if someone is going above and beyond, that 2.5 should be left to tender if that individual meets a certain level of expectation as far as the supervisor and, like I said, ultimately the city manager is concerned. I don't know.
I mean, it's at the discretion of the commission. If you all would advise that we go back and include the 3% COLA increase as well as a performance increase for those who,
Where did we come up with the 3% for this year anyway?
it's just
Is the
standard.
cost of living increased by 3% this year?
I mean, it's standard.
That-
It's the
that's
standard
something that we-
increase over
And have
time.
to establish.
Right, that's what I'm saying, what I'm saying, we put 3% now this year, it may be less than that, say it may be 2.5 or even 2%. And that should be again on an annual basis, because you don't know whether or not the city is able to absorb a cost of living for a particular year.
For
So
everybody.
it's on an annual basis, you can determine whether or not.
Right, so whenever the evaluation is completed, then that's when we should be looking at whether or not that person is gonna get that cost of living, which to me, cost of living is cost of living. The performance increase, the 2.5, should be based on their performance.
I mean, we'll accept your
But
guidance
here's
on.
the thing, I think even with the cost of living, I think that's a budgetary issue. I mean, I've worked in jobs where you didn't get a cost of living every day. That was depending on the budget and the governor. So that's something I think we will have to determine from year to year.
Yeah, I even worked with the county in
I
the
agree.
same way.
Yeah.
It was some
I
years we
agree.
didn't
Got
get
it.
it at all.
Yeah.
But and I've been there before too, but I think that it's something that we should offer our employees, to let them know that we appreciate their service.
I'm not saying
If
that we
can
don't, that we
provide
shouldn't
them a
offer it.
cost of living, then we should do it. And then those that go above and beyond the 2.5 performance increase should be considered.
I'm not saying that it's something that we shouldn't offer, but we should have the latitude based on our budget, because you don't want to just
Of course,
automatically
if
be
we
giving
can't
people
pay it, then
raises
we
and we
can't
can't,
pay it.
and we
It's
can't
to
do
be
it. But,
considered.
and I don't want to say something that we can't do, and that we should make that determination.
At every budget review
Yes.
workshop.
Right, because I think 3%, just say that across the board, that they're gonna automatically get it. I'm a teacher. Sometimes we get 1%.
And sometimes you
I
don't get
mean,
no
we,
percent.
3% was the highest we got this year for, our performance, but, that's
why I
what we
say leave
get.
it
We
at
just get the
latitude.
performance, so I don't think that we should just automatically say they get a 3% cost of living. We can probably look at that, but I can agree with the performance, if they worked and
Yes.
done the performance. I
Above
can
and
agree with
beyond
that,
is
above and beyond.
extraordinary.
And, yeah, but not
Always
just
keep
an
that
automatic
attitude.
3% for the cost of living.
I think
That's
the
our
budget should be taken into consideration with regards to the cost of living, because we all know that, cost of living goes up. It's not standing still. So I think that could be, modified or amended every year. For instance, like you said, y'all got 1%, and we can have a range between 1% and 3% for the cost of living, and then that 2.5% should be reserved for those individuals that go above and beyond. I mean, that's just my take on it. Of course, it's something that we can certainly vote on.
I would ask that you all also consider our budget numbers as well, because we need to get in line with our budget and make sure that we are not using reserve to fund our budget. And so once we get past that point, then I would ask that you reconsider that.
Yeah, that's what I was
So are
talking
you
about.
saying
Just
not
make
for
sure that
this, so you're saying not
saying
for
not
this
for
year
this
to not
year.
consider
The cost of living increase, because we need to make sure we can sustain our budget where we are without using reserve.
so
And
is
with the
nowhere we can
things
cut
that-
in the budget
We're continuing
$50,000
cut.
that we can at least look at a performance, even if we
No,
don't do the cost of
performance,
living?
yes. We said, you all said yes to performance. That's fine, because performance is based on what they're doing. So performance, yes, but the cost of living, in addition to that, let us consider our budget numbers, where we are, and then to make sure that we can sustain ourselves in the city, because we do have quite a bit to do. And so once we can get to that point, then we revisit that we have enough money that we can not consider
Okay.
this.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, I was just checking and looking at everything and making sure we being
No,
fair
we
across
appreciate
the
it.
board.
That's
We
what we
being fair
need.
across the board.
So are we going to say maximum of 2%, 2.5% for performance, or is that number going to be different? That's what we
Yeah,
have
we can look
currently,
at-
the
yeah.
2.5
Yeah, we can
performance.
stay
Yeah.
with what we
We
have.
We can stay with what we
For
have.
the performance.
Okay.
Yeah. And would that include charter officers too? Or we look at the charter officers,
That includes.
I mean,
It's
Well,
easier
some
to
of
include
our
everything
child
across the
officers
board.
are contract, but I mean, yeah.
And I'm the only one without a contract.
Everybody don't have a contract.
Hmm?
Everybody don't have a contract.
Yeah,
No, I
don't have
say
a
two of our
Yeah.
two of our charter members are contract, so that'll be addressed.
Yeah, that's
That's
a
a contract.
contract item for those.
but if nothing is in the budget, we can't really address it. If, I was just saying, in case we decide to, at least we should have something in the budget.
I would say that's across the board, regardless of the contract
Across
or
the
not.
board.
Across the board. If you're doing well,
For the merit, anyway.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any other?
It's gonna automatically be. a
Yeah,
part
let me
of
just
the
make sure to
contract
be on the
too.
safe side that I got everything answered and we got everything.
So we used to have some water and some peppermints or something. A bunch of, you gotta bring a bunch of.
If there are no additional questions, I entertain a motion to adjourn our budget
second.
workshop.
No motion necessary.
I know we just want to do that for now.
You can't vote in a workshop.
We also,
Keep us right, Clerk. Keep us right.
before we exit, we also need to know, is there another workshop that you all want on the budget? Because we will make these changes and we can give them.
One last thing, I'm sorry. I was just thinking, when I look at our road repairs, like minor road repairs, do we have anything in our budget that would address, say, like potholes on a consistent basis, instead of just waiting till a road get terrible?
So-
do we need to put a line item?
No, that was the plan, but there were issues with our accounts. So the account that we used to get the asphalt had closed because we had not used it in so long. So we had to reopen that account because our plan was to make that an easy win coming in. Let's fix the potholes. We went to got the dump truck ready, got the roller ready, went to get the asphalt, and the account had closed. So we had to reopen and reestablish credit so that we can get asphalt. So
Excuse me, but I
So
thought,
that is
I
part-
thought we
in
had
that
a
process.
former city manager stated that we bought asphalt, while it was on sale. I'm just saying.
But I think that was for the Barfield, was supposed to be for the Barfield
For the
Road.
Barfield Highway.
Where are we in that
so that
process?
was the company.
We have submitted the application. It's probably been it's almost 2 months now. I've been following up with the rep. I have not gotten a response from him, so I'll continue to reach out and try to get a response back.
Oh, I got one more thing before we go, if you don't mind. Oh, we didn't talk about, did we put in the budget anywhere? We brought up that we need to make sure that we have signs put on all of our vehicles. Did we put that in the budget anywhere to make sure that we get that
Logos,
done?
city
To put
logos.
those logos on all the vehicles? We got funding in there for that? If we can make sure.
We
that's-
should be able to. They're not that expensive, and we don't have that many vehicles out. So we will look for those fundings as well.
But we get
We
new
will see what we
vehicles, we
have.
wanna make sure the new vehicles have them on them from day one. And,
That is included in the service that at least Enterprise offers. They've the only ones I've met with thus far, so we'll be exploring our options for those. But they do provide, if we had police vehicles, they do get the striping done for us and those type of things, so.
and they will have tracking as well, like if something happened, we can make sure we can keep up with our vehicles and all of that. Okay.
They offer maintenance, they offer tracking, they offer
Okay.
disposal, financing, they everything that you would need in the life cycle of a vehicle,
Okay.
they offer those things.
Good, okay. Okay.
So we don't meet again until August 11th, and just in case we come across something in our perusal of these documents, I mean, we shouldn't consider, what we've talked about here final. There's always a possibility that changes might need to be made, so just making sure
Please
that we're
put
on
it
the same page.
in. Please
in
put
that
it in
regard.
email, and you can send that to me, and then we will get together to review it. And if we have any questions from your email, we will give you a call.
And the final budget is due in Tallahassee, October 1st? I mean,
No,
that's the.
September. It's
I
September.
don't think they give you a grace period. Okay.
It's in October. I'm not sure that the date is the 1st, but it is in October.
That's fine.
And I was just thinking about, our packages being in place and getting there. in time.
Okay, since we don't need a vote, and the city manager did mention the fact that did we want to have an additional workshop on the budget, y'all want to include that as an option, or don't feel we need one?
Why don't we
I'll
just
be
leave
on
it open
vacation.
to where she can call an emergency one,
I-
not just say.
Yeah.
I would suggest that we do it on the day of a meeting, like an hour before or what have you,
Yeah.
rather
If
than,
needed.
I mean, that's just my suggestion.
I won't be available for one because I'm leaving on vacation, so I won't be.
No, I'm saying we don't even meet on July 28th.
Right.
So the next meeting
Oh, I thought he
is
was
August
before
11th.
then. Oh, I thought he meant
But-
before then.
You know, we have time, even if we only meet on the 11th, we can do a workshop the day, you know, an hour before the meeting.
Okay.
It's what I suggest. That's a
Yeah,
suggestion.
on the same day of the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to go with that.
Now, during our budget workshop at 6:26 PM.
Thank you.